Happy Monday, everyone, and thank you for listening to episode 26 of the Southern Conservative Podcast. My name is Ty. We have a lot to cover today. A lot of interesting things have happened since last Thursday's podcast. First, if you're a fan of Mark Levin, I'm sure you already have seen that he has a new show on Sunday nights on the Fox News channel. It's called Life, Liberty, and Levin. It comes on 10 p.m. Eastern Time every Sunday night. Mark will interview one guest for the whole hour. Last night, he interviewed the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Congressman Devin Nunes. The House Intelligence Committee has been spearheading the investigation into FISA abuse by the FBI and the Justice Department, and in particular, looking at FISA abuse as it relates to Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. I'll provide a link to the YouTube video where you can watch the full interview. It's about 40 minutes long without the commercial advertisements. Mark Levin and Devin Nunes went through step by step the leaking of information about the FBI's investigation of Donald Trump. They also discussed the meeting Susan Rice had with Barack Obama and the email she sent to herself on January 20th, 2017 about the meeting, which took place on January 5th, 2017. And they talked about the unmasking of Michael Flynn's name and the leaks of Flynn talking to a Russian official. Now, much of this we have already discussed, but I do want to bring up some important points. One person that has not been the focus of the investigation for the most part is Barack Obama. Remember, the investigation into Donald Trump and the obtaining of the initial FISA warrant against Carter Page in October 2016 and the first reauthorization of that warrant in January 2017 took place while Obama was president. So the question is, to what extent Obama knew the investigation was taking place? Mark asked the chairman whether information about the FISA warrants would have been included in daily intelligence briefings to Obama. The chairman did not think the information would be there since there was no actual intelligence on this matter. Remember, all of this Trump-Russia collusion was based on salacious information fed to Christopher Steele by the Russians. He compiled the information into a dossier paid for by Hillary Clinton and the DNC, and Steele was giving information directly to the FBI. Remember this too. If there were actual intelligence by the CIA, FBI, NSA, and so forth, and information was in a presidential daily briefing, it would be crystal clear evidence that there was collusion between Trump and Russia. But we still do not have any evidence to this day that Trump colluded with Russia. But it still remains whether Obama was aware of the FBI's investigation into Trump. We'll just put together information we already know and make that determination yourself. There have been reports that former CIA Director John Brennan and former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper made sure information about the dossier was included in a daily presidential briefing. According to Devin Nunes last night, the dossier was the bulk of the FISA application for getting a warrant to spy on Carter Page. Susan Rice had a meeting with the president and others on January 5th, 2017, in which the president supposedly remarked twice that he wanted investigations conducted by the book, and that the FBI may feel the need to withhold classified information from the incoming administration. Now, why would classified information need to be withheld from the incoming administration? And by the way, Trump is privy to all classified information since he is the president. But why would the FBI need to withhold classified information from the new administration unless that information had to deal with an ongoing investigation into the new administration? Remember, too, that the January 5th meeting was memorialized by Susan Rice on January 20th, 15 days later. January 20th not only was the last day of the Obama administration and the first day of the Trump administration, but it was also the day after the FISA warrant against Carter Page was reauthorized for the first time. So do you think Obama was totally in the dark on all of this? I think not. Now, we'll have to wait and see to what extent Obama knew about the particulars of the FBI investigation. But I'm sure he knew the general idea of what the FBI was doing, and I'm sure he knew FISA warrants were being obtained against Carter Page. Now on to another point. There have been leaks to the media coming from within the federal government, and the leaks that come out are almost always meant to damage Trump. One of the earliest leaks, as cited last night by Mark Levin, was a media story one day before the 2016 election about there being an FBI investigation into Donald Trump for possible Trump-Russia collusion and that the FBI obtained a FISA warrant. This was one day before the election. The first FISA warrant was obtained in late October 2016, about 2 weeks before the election. Only a handful of people at the FBI and the Justice Department would have known about the FISA warrant. So who leaked the information? There certainly doesn't seem to be any interest among the journalists in the mainstream media to find the answer to that question. Devin Nunes said correctly that the most criminal leak that came out was the leaking of Michael Flynn and the conversations he had with Russian ambassador concerning Russian sanctions. You see, what happened was Flynn was picked up by routine surveillance of Russian officials. Anytime an American is picked up, his or her name is kept under wraps. You identify the person as an American or American number 1, something to that effect. And under very limited circumstances do you reveal the American's name, and even then, the name is kept highly confidential within the intelligence community. But Flynn's name gets leaked publicly. Now, who leaked his name? Is there anyone in the mainstream media concerned that Flynn's name was leaked to the media? No. They're only concerned about finding evidence that Trump colluded with Russia. And today, we hear leaks on an almost daily basis about Robert Mueller's investigation. We know in advance when charges are going to be handed down and who is going to be charged. Who inside the special counsel team is leaking this information? Many believe it's Mueller himself. Now, if that's the case, does that alone not reveal that the special counsel is a sham? These leaks, being fed directly to the liberal mainstream media outlets, drive the narrative that Mueller is one step closer to getting Donald Trump. But there's still no evidence of collusion. Carter Page, the Trump campaign volunteer who had 4 FISA warrants issued against him, has not been charged with collusion or anything for that matter. Needless to say, there is still a lot of work Devin Nunes and the House Intelligence Committee need to do. And it's another reason why Republicans need to win control of the House in November. Because if Republicans lose the House, Adam Schiff will chair the House Intelligence Committee next year, and any investigation into FISA abuse will grind to a halt. I want to remind everyone to please check out my Facebook page. Go to facebook.com/Southern Conservative. That's facebook.com/Southern Conservative. There you will find links to conservative news articles on stories you may not hear about in the mainstream media. Plus, if you follow the news feed, you'll find links to the daily podcasts. Be sure to also subscribe to this YouTube channel. You'll be alerted each time a new podcast has been posted. New podcasts are posted daily, Monday through Thursday. Speaking of Devin Nunes, he sent a letter off last week to the Attorney General and CC'd the letter to FBI Director Christopher Wray and Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz. In the letter, Nunes surmises the FBI broke several laws when it used the dossier to obtain FISA warrants. The information in the dossier has yet to be verified. James Comey even admitted to Donald Trump before he was sworn in as president that the dossier was salacious and unverified. Nunes cites a guidebook called the DIOG, Domestic Investigations and Operations Guide, created by the FBI and approved by the DOJ. The latest version of that guide is from 2011, which states that the accuracy of information contained within FISA applications is of utmost importance. Only documented and verified information may be used to support FBI FISA applications to the FISA court. The dialogue provides detailed instructions for the FBI to follow to ensure that information appearing in a FISA application that is presented to a FISA court has been thoroughly vetted and confirmed. Well, none of this happened with the Steele dossier. The FBI never independently confirmed the accuracy of the information in the dossier, but still used it as part of a FISA application, presented it to a FISA judge, and was able to obtain warrants against Carter Page. Now, because the latest guide available is from 2011, Nunes has two questions for the Attorney General. Were these protocols changed after the 2011 version to allow for the use of unverified information to support FBI FISA applications to the FISA court? And if not, what steps has the DOJ and/or the FBI taken to hold accountable those officials who violated these protocols? Nunes wants answers by March 8th. Now, when it comes to the investigation of FISA abuse, Attorney General Jeff Sessions said he will have the Inspector General Michael Horowitz investigate. The problem is, the Inspector General does not have any prosecutorial power should he find criminal violations. Many are calling for Sessions to create a second special counsel to conduct an investigation, which is what should be done. That way, you can actually charge people who violated the law and maybe finally clean up the mess inside the FBI and DOJ. The problem is that Jeff Sessions is literally the Attorney General in name only. And there are reports that indicate Sessions is either kept out of the loop on many decisions within the DOJ, or that Sessions leaves a lot of the decision-making up to Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General. Two more things to touch on briefly before I end the podcast today. Donald Trump announced late last week that he will be imposing tariffs on foreign steel and aluminum in order to make American steel and aluminum more competitive. He wants a 25% tariff on steel and a 10% tariff on aluminum. Now, if you have followed my Facebook page, facebook.com/Southern Conservative, before I started making podcasts, you know that I am against tariffs because in the end, they hurt the consumer. There are thousands of tariffs out there that most people don't even know about, and they're each meant to protect a certain industry in the United States. In the case of the latest tariffs, it's meant to protect the American steel and aluminum industries. Now, that might sound great if you're someone who works in one of those industries. But while the tariffs may benefit a small number of people in the United States, everyone in the United States will feel the pinch from these tariffs. The fact is, folks, America is part of a global economy. Now, China, through currency manipulations and other means, is able to supply steel and aluminum to the world market for a lower price than American steel and aluminum. And there are companies in America that make use of the steel and aluminum for products they sell. And these companies buy foreign steel and aluminum. Not all of it is foreign, but if you're looking to save money, you're buying it from overseas. So if the tariffs make American steel and aluminum more competitive, you're going to see higher prices for goods that are made from the higher priced steel and aluminum. Not to mention that other countries who export steel and aluminum will be turned off by the tariffs and could impose tariffs on American goods. There are many out there who feel that a trade war could be started. And that would not be a good thing because that would have a negative impact on all Americans. So we'll see if Trump follows through with these tariffs. The latest indication coming from Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross is that Trump will impose these new tariffs. I'll update you as more news comes out on this. And finally, ICE officials are very irritated with the mayor of Oakland, who gave her city a heads up recently that ICE was going to conduct raids on that city in an effort to round up criminal illegal immigrants. Essentially, the mayor was helping to shield criminal illegal immigrants. ICE Director Thomas Homan indicated that ICE was unable to locate 800 immigrants in a recent sweep of that city because of the warning. What the mayor is doing by promoting Oakland as a sanctuary city in violation of federal law is not only undermining and nullifying federal law, but she is putting the citizens of Oakland in danger and the lives of ICE officials in danger as well. By giving criminal immigrants who have committed other crimes besides the fact that they're here illegally, which is also a crime, a heads up that ICE is coming, they could take up arms against ICE officials. And by leaving criminal illegals on the streets of Oakland, you threaten the lives of those who live in Oakland. I don't want somebody from Oakland to be the next Kate Steinle. What I do want to see is the federal government going after these sanctuary cities aggressively. I would go so far as to prosecute these mayors for nullifying federal law. Surely the Justice Department can come up with some way to get these sanctuary cities to cooperate with federal law enforcement and immigration officials. Sanctuary cities are a big part of the illegal immigration problem in this country. And I applaud ICE for trying to apprehend criminal illegal immigrants in an effort to both enforce the laws that already exist and to try to make our communities safer. And if you're a citizen living in a sanctuary city, you should be demanding more from your elected officials. Tell them that you want them to enforce immigration laws and that you promote legal immigration, not illegal immigration. Anyway, that will do it for today's podcast. Have a great day, everybody.